It all started with a bold dream to explore beyond the stars. Boeing, a pioneer in aerospace innovation, embarked on a mission to create the next-generation spacecraft for ferrying astronauts to the International Space Station. But what really led to all these setbacks? Was it a shortage of resources or technical hiccups? Let's uncover the truth. Back in the 1960s and 70s, Boeing was busy making history. They created the lunar orbiters, NASA's very first spacecraft to orbit the moon in 1966 and 1967. Then in 1974 and 1975, their Mariner 10 space probe snapped the first close-up photos of Mercury's surface. Boeing also had a hand in the Apollo missions, designing and building the mighty first stage of the Saturn V rockets that carried astronauts to the moon. Plus, they crafted the battery-powered lunar roving vehicles used in the Apollo 15, 16, and 17 missions. Fast forward to 1976, Boeing entered the upper stage rocket game by developing the Inertial Upper Stage, or IUS, a two-stage payload delivery vehicle that could hitch a ride into space with a shuttle or a launcher like the Titan. By 1993, NASA had picked Boeing as the prime contractor for the International Space Station, or ISS. Just 2 years later, Boeing was responsible for integrating and verifying ISS systems, along with designing, analyzing, manufacturing, verifying, and delivering the American components of the station. Since NASA's space shuttle program ended in 2011, they've had to rely on Russian transports to get astronauts to the ISS. In 2014, NASA handed out major contracts to Boeing and SpaceX to ferry crew and cargo to the International Space Station. With the retirement of the space shuttle, NASA needed a new spaceship and wanted to reduce its reliance on Russia's Soyuz spacecraft. They decided to partner with private aerospace companies, investing heavily in this new venture. SpaceX's Dragon spacecraft, led by Elon Musk, came in as the cheaper option at $2.6 billion. Despite the lower price tag, SpaceX has outshined Boeing with 8 successful crewed launches, while Boeing has yet to get off the ground. Back when these contracts were awarded, Boeing was a titan in the aerospace industry. The CST-100 Starliner, conceived in 2010, was built on the rich legacy of Apollo spacecraft designs, measuring 14.8 feet or 4.5 meters in diameter. It was designed to carry up to 7 astronauts. Despite its extensive experience, Boeing stumbled badly during Starliner's first test flight in December 2019. At 6:36 a.m. Eastern Time on December 20th, the Starliner launched atop a United Launch Alliance Atlas V rocket, which performed flawlessly, placing the spacecraft in its intended suborbital trajectory for an uncrewed orbital flight test. However, after separating from the rocket, Starliner encountered a critical problem. A misconfigured internal mission timer caused it to miss the necessary orbital insertion burn. Quick thinking from mission controllers got Starliner into a lower but stable orbit. The decision was made to skip docking with the ISS and focus on landing early while salvaging as many missions objectives as possible. At 7:58 a.m. Eastern Time, Starliner made a historic landing at White Sands Space Harbor in New Mexico, becoming the first American orbital crew capsule to touch down on land. Despite the shortened mission, Starliner orbited Earth 33 times, traveling over 850,000 miles or 1.3 million kilometers, and providing invaluable data on its performance during launch, orbit, re-entry, and landing. This failure sparked a comprehensive investigation by a NASA Boeing review team, resulting in a 28-month delay. The review of the first orbital flight test, or OFT-1, uncovered numerous software issues and highlighted the need for more rigorous testing. NASA issued 80 recommendations, prompting Boeing to take a $410 million hit to cover another uncrewed test flight. The second uncrewed test, OFT-2, faced its own challenges. Initially set for August 2021, it was delayed multiple times due to valve issues in the propulsion system, specifically rust accumulation from Florida's high humidity. After extensive inspections and fixes, Boeing was ready for another go in May 2022. Despite a few hiccups, including a thruster failure, Starliner managed to dock with the ISS and successfully returned to Earth, paving the way for its first crewed test. On May 4, 2022, Starliner began its journey from Boeing's Commercial Crew and Cargo Processing Facility at NASA's Kennedy Space Center to the United Launch Alliance's Vertical Integration Facility at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. This careful trek culminated in Starliner being hoisted and mated to the Atlas V rocket, ready for its OFT-2 mission. On May 19, 2022 at 6:54 p.m. Eastern Time, Starliner launched atop the Atlas V rocket. The rocket's R&D 180 main engine and solid rocket boosters generated over 1.5 million pounds of thrust, propelling Starliner skyward. The next day, on May 20th at 8:28 p.m. Eastern Time, Starliner successfully docked with the ISS, orbiting 250 miles or 400 kilometers above Earth. A key objective of OF2 was to demonstrate Starliner's autonomous rendezvous capabilities, guided by its vision-based electro-optical sensor tracking assembly, or VESTA, which acts as the spacecraft's eyes, navigating by the stars. Finally, on May 25, 2022, Starliner landed back at White Sands Space Harbor at 6:49 p.m. Eastern Time. After completing all its undocking, deorbit, re-entry, and landing maneuvers, the spacecraft touched down safely, having orbited Earth 94 times and covered over 2.4 million miles, or 3.9 million kilometers. The successful completion of OFT-2 marked a significant milestone, setting the stage for Starliner's crewed flights. Boeing's crewed Starliner launch initially aimed for February 2023, but faced multiple delays, slipping to late April and finally to July 21, 2023. By then, Boeing's losses for the Starliner program had soared to an eye-watering $1.1 billion. The planned crew flight test launch faced another setback in June 2023, as Boeing announced an indefinite delay due to problems with the parachute system and wiring harness. This mission, crucial for flying two NASA astronauts to the International Space Station for 1 week flight test, was put on hold again. Fast forward to June 5, 2024, NASA astronauts Barry Butch Wilmore and Sunita Suni Williams made history by being the first to orbit in a Boeing Starliner. They launched from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station at 10:52 a.m. Eastern Time, embarking on a 25-hour journey to the ISS. This marked the beginning of the much-anticipated NASA Boeing Starliner Crew Flight Test, or CFT. After launching from Cape Canaveral, Wilmore and Williams reached the ISS on June 6th. However, their docking was delayed when 5 of the spacecraft's 28 maneuvering thrusters malfunctioned as they neared the station. To add to the drama, the mission also suffered from a series of helium leaks. These issues are just the latest in a series of setbacks for Starliner's crewed test flight. 2 previous launch attempts were scrapped, the first on May 6 due to a faulty oxygen relief valve on the Atlas V rocket's second stage, noticed just after Wilmore and Williams had entered the capsule. The second on June 1st was called off because of a computer system failure, controlling the countdown's final moments, occurring with just under 4 minutes to go before liftoff. After a decade filled with challenges and setbacks, their relentless effort paid off spectacularly in 2024, when the Starliner successfully ferried NASA astronauts to the ISS. It's a victory that's nothing short of cosmic. Love the video? Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more electrifying space escapades.